You're listening to IsReal News, 3 daily briefings on the Middle East and on global developments.
From IsReal News, these are the morning headlines for Tuesday, April 14th. Air raid sirens sound in the northern kibbutz of Misgav this morning, just minutes after the Holocaust Remembrance Day siren. Later, more alerts are heard in Kiryat Shmona, Margaliot, Carmiel, and nearby communities after rocket fire from Lebanon. On the northern front, heavy fighting is reported in southern Lebanon. 3 IDF paratroopers were seriously wounded, and 7 other soldiers were hurt in varying degrees during an encounter with a terrorist cell in Bint Jbeil. The force killed 1 gunman, while an Air Force drone struck another who opened fire on additional troops. Israeli forces also detained several Hezbollah operatives in the area. At sea, there are signs of possible movement around the Strait of Hormuz. Reports say at least several tankers have crossed the waterway since the U.S. naval blockade began, including 1 Chinese-linked vessel previously sanctioned by Washington. Iran is now said to be considering a temporary halt in shipments through Hormuz in an effort to support possible talks with the United States. China is sharply criticizing the American blockade, calling it dangerous and irresponsible. Beijing says increased military activity around Iranian ports risks undermining the already fragile ceasefire and further threatening shipping safety in the strait. There are also fresh signs that U.S.-Iran diplomacy may resume. Reports say American and Iranian negotiating teams are expected back in Islamabad later this week or early next week for another round of talks. Vice President J.D. Vance says the ball is now in Tehran's court, adding the talks were good, but Iran did not move far enough. Vance says the U.S. red lines remain clear. Highly enriched material must leave Iran, and Tehran must commit not to develop a nuclear weapon. Iranian officials, meanwhile, are placing increasing emphasis on compensation, saying war damages may already total around $270 billion. In Israel, Mossad chief David Barnea says the campaign against Iran will only be complete with regime change. Speaking at a Holocaust Remembrance Day ceremony, he says Israel never believed the mission would end when the fighting stopped, and says the extremist regime that seeks Israel's destruction must pass from the world. On the diplomatic front, Italy is suspending the automatic renewal of its defense agreement with Israel. Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni says the move comes in light of the current situation. There is also new tension involving Russia. Reports say Moscow delivered an unusually severe warning to Israel over strikes near the Bushehr nuclear power plant in Iran. Russian personnel at the site have been sharply reduced, with only a small core team now said to remain, amid concerns over a potential nuclear risk. And in financial markets, U.S. stock futures are mixed. Futures tied to the S&P 500 and NASDAQ are moving higher, while Dow futures hover around the flat line. Oil prices are falling after President Trump signals openness to further talks with Iran, raising optimism for a possible long-term truce. Those are the latest headlines from IsReal News.
Follow IsReal News for 3 daily briefings. Fast, factual, and to the point.